Morning, Dan from DJMoore Lofts.
DJMoore.
DJ. Whee, on the ones and twos with the banter crew. So, just pulled up at our next job in Marsden Mortain. So we're just getting set up here, waiting for the loft lifter. Whilst Nathan and Jamie are making noises. Neil ran out of kit yesterday, late last night, bless him. He phoned me at 6 saying he'd run out of kit, so he's had to pop out this morning just to finish off this front corner. But he's got here a little early. He's been here since 7:30, which I'm sure the neighbours are loving. But needs must so that we can get this all set up ready for the loft lifter that's about to turn up any minute. But this one, I'll show you this one. So this house, quite a big house, but it's actually a timber framed property. So structurally, it's a little bit out there compared to what we're used to normally. But thankfully our engineer is fantastic and come up with a solution to utilise the existing structure, but we've got a little bit of messing around to do to get it to work. But what we'll do is we'll jump up there, we'll show you some before shots, we'll unload, and then we'll jump into the loft and try and explain basically how we're going to structurally convert this one. So on this one we've got 2 pitch roof dormers, one either side of this apex, and then we've got a large flat roof dormer at the back. Wow, look at those gardens. Creating a master bedroom with a spare bedroom and then a dressing room slash I can't even speak, sorry, an ensuite, a master, a spare bedroom and a dressing room. And we've got a Juliet balcony as well. Okay, it's quite a funky tile then. But yeah, they're going to have these fantastic views. So like I said, we're just waiting on Lawson. They just finished up the scaffold around this side so we can load it all up. But yeah, quite looking forward to this one. A little bit different structurally. There's our insulation, 150 PIR for the flat roof dormer. Scaffold's just getting finished off now. But what I'll do is I'll jump you inside and show you what we've got. So like we touched on earlier, we've got a pitch roof dormer this side and one on that side of the apex. And then if I walk around here, I will show you inside. Sorry no. So what Jamie's now doing is we're prepping this access hole. So we've got this main spine beam that's going to go along here. But because this is a timber framed house, we've got quite an unusual design. So you'll see here, obviously we've got this timber strand panels. Now, traditionally, you wouldn't have these unless it's a timber frame property, but modern day properties now, they've resorted back to that. So instead of having block work, they're putting these back in and then doing brickwork. But then underneath it is solid masonry, so then we can still utilise it. But this one we know it's timber framed because we've fully investigated downstairs. But it looks very much like a normal loft up here. But basically, because we've not got brickwork on the sides, breeze block or masonry on the sides or the front and back, it obviously creates a bit of an issue with us trying to put steels in and pinpoint loading and stuff like that. So what the architect has come up with alongside the structural engineer, more importantly, on this build, is that we've come up with a fantastic design. So if we're looking at it here, this is that front apex. This is that main spine beam that I'm referring to. So it's quite a chunk of steel, but this wall here, the one Jamie's prepping there, is basically going to become a load bearing wall. So we've got to take the plasterboard off downstairs and clad one side of it with 18mm ply just to give it some rigidity. But the purpose of that then allows us to spread some of the weight along this wall, as well as then using big spreader steel. So normally we'd have like a spreader plate that's probably be like 500 wide. In this instance, we've got like a steel that's like 3 meters. We've got one there, but then we've got these other spreaders that go there as well. And that allows us to just I can't even say the word, dissipate? Move the loading across multiple studs. That's probably the better way of me saying it. So effectively, instead of us point loading all the weight onto like one stud, that allows us to spread the weight over like 5 or so studs, especially more so here and there and then there. It gives us multiple areas just to spread the load in. And then once we've got these sections in, we're then kind of back to a traditional loft in the sense of we've got a ridge beam. We have posts either end that then sit down on these new longer spreader beams. So these are just bits of C-channel that have all been designed to carry over multiple studs. We've had to make a few holes downstairs to investigate like what the condition of the studs are, what the centres are, and what the thickness is. But yeah, so that is what I was just showing you, that load bearing wall. But what we're going to do is we're going to lay a 3x2 on top of that, just to pack it up so that it's like 50mm above the plasterboard, just so to minimise that we're not damaging anything going downstairs, just to try and minimise it for now. And then if you can imagine, the steel will run from there back, but we've got a long spreader beam that's going to go there that will connect on. This end's a little bit more tricky because we have got one that's going side to side, which is in that front apex, but because we've got this large girder truss here, we're going to have to cut through that girder truss. But by us packing this up 50mm allows us to keep 50mm of that girder truss in there. It's not obviously as strong as it is now, but it's going to give us some rigidity. But the plan of action is if we get that side apex one in first, we can then put some struts up off that sill to support that front apex, which will then in turn allow us to take some of the weight off it and cut through that. So it's just a process of elimination in the sense of transferring the load onto the new structure. So if we can get that steel in, the main one, and then that side piece in, that will allow us to get this dwarf walls in, which then in turn allows us to take some of the weight off the roof. So it's all staged in such a way, whereas in an ideal world you had no roof here, you put steels in and crack on, but we've got to be conscious of the existing loading and the existing weight of the roof, because not only do we not want it to drop and just aesthetically change, obviously from a structural point safety, if we start cutting out these trusses, the loading can just drop and move and the whole roof could collapse. So we've got to be very careful and very strategic in how we manipulate it. Same thing with like getting the ridge beam up, like we won't cut out massive amount of trusses until we got the ridge beam up, because that takes over some of the weight. So it is very calculated in what we do. As much as it's great having a set of plans, showing you what the finished product needs to be, it's the journey of how we get through that, and that's what I'd like to think as a specialist, that's what we kind of specialise in, is getting that journey through and doing it safely and avoiding the roof sagging, but on top of that getting everything as low as we can to give multiple head height. So back outside, obviously just talked you through everything that we've got over there inside now, so we're now just getting the materials offloaded so we can get access to these stills. So we've just had the plasterboard lifted up, which is nice. I bought some brand new tarpaulins that are down there that we're going to put on there, but now we're releasing to get into some of the stills so we can start getting them up basically. So I think we're going to restack this decking so that it's in a single thing so we can get that up here. But yeah, so we'll leave the lads to it now, let them crack on. And yeah, we'll pop back later today, if not tomorrow, and just show you the inside as we follow this journey. Probably follow this one quite well, because obviously we get a lot of questions around timber frame, so I'll probably do a lot of more videos on this one just to give some people some ideas and document this one over the normal stuff. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you again on the next video. Enjoy.